Do you have a plan for success, or are you planning to fail? Stick with me while I give you a rundown of the ultimate business checklist. The first and most important section is the Getting Started section. Getting this right is crucial to making sure you succeed in setting up your business correctly. Brainstorming business ideas. It's a good idea to get your friends and family involved if you're having doubts about what you want to do in your new business. Ask others what they think of your idea and get their feedback. You never know where your next great idea might come from. You need to determine whether you're going to be doing a business-to-business business or a business-to-consumer business. The differences will change the way you do your entire marketing. The next item on your list is picking your niche. From personal experience, I could tell you that this one is one of the hardest ones on the checklist that me and my partner had. There's a lot of second guessing and a lot of doubt as to whether you've got the right niche or not. My best advice I can give you is just to pick a niche and move forward with it. And if you find out as you're moving forward that it's just not the right thing for you, I mean, you're just seeing too many things that are not right about it, then absolutely just switch it over to something else. It doesn't even have to be something related. Just start the process over again and get yourself a new niche. But if there's just little doubts that you're having and little questions, and you're not sure about this or that, just go ahead with that niche. Just keep pushing forward, because it's so easy to overthink and over-guess what is right and what's not right. And there's thousands of things you could come up with that can go wrong if you sit down and just think about everything that can go wrong. So it's important to really pick the niche and stick with it. And when you pick a niche, it doesn't need to be something you're passionate about. It doesn't need to be something that you wake up every day and you're just overly excited to do it. But it needs to be something that you are okay with doing. I mean, this is your business. You're going to be doing it every day. You're going to be talking about it every day. You're going to be researching more information about it. So you definitely want to have some interest in what you're doing, or you're going to just grow bored and you're not going to want to do it. And every day is going to become like a job, and it's going to be something that you don't want to do. You pick something that you have a passion about, at least a little bit, that you've got an interest in and you don't mind talking about and you're knowledgeable about. Push forward. Just keep going. After you've got your niche, the next step is to conduct your market research. Now's when you're going to find out if your niche has legs. You need to do the research to find out who your market is. Are there people that are going to buy this? Before you spend all your time making your product, make sure that there's somebody out there that actually wants it. So you've got to do your market research. The next one on the list is creating your buyer persona. This was also one of the hardest things that we had to do when we were coming up with what we were going to do for our businesses. It's something that we never want to do. We never want to sit down and try to think about exactly who we're selling to, because it's just boring. It's just not really any fun. But you have no choice. If you want to be successful at whatever service you're doing or whatever product you're selling, you absolutely positively need to know who you're selling to. You need to know who your customer is and who you're talking to, because if you don't know who you're talking to, your message is just not going to resonate with them. So if your target market is someone like your grandma, she is your persona that you're selling to, and you're selling quilts, well, it's very easy for you to talk about quilts as if you were talking to your grandma. So it's going to resonate with your customers because you know exactly who they are. You know how to talk to your grandma. So having that understanding of who your customer is and being able to talk to them and resonate with them, and you literally will build rapport with them, that's crucial. It's going to make all the difference in the world in your product or service. The next thing on your getting started checklist is creating your minimum viable offer. What this means is the bare minimum that you can do for the maximum amount of results. You want to figure out what it is that you essentially need to give people to get the maximum amount of results out of them. The next thing you need to get started is defining your product or service. Now that you've picked your niche and you know who your customer is, now you really need to define what it is that you're actually selling. You need to be able to describe what your services are or the product in detail so that you can once again explain it and pitch it and tell people about it so they understand and that they want your product or service. Next on the list is pricing your product or service. Now, this you should have figured out a little bit from doing your market research where your prices should lie. Me personally, I like to go opposite of what most people do. Most people try to compete one price and they'll try to undercut the competition and try to win out by going as low as they can. I like to try to create the most value. Now, I sell services, so of course this works for products too, but especially on a service, I feel that my time has value. So I don't want to undercut myself. I feel that if I charge more money, as long as I'm providing the value to my customers, they will also feel that they're getting more benefit. They'll know that they're getting that extra special service, and they're not going to mind paying the premium to get the better service. So don't do yourself and shortchange yourself by going cheap. I mean, you can win on price, but the only thing your competition needs to do to beat you is to lower their prices. And you definitely don't want to be in a race to the bottom on prices. Last thing on the checklist for getting started is your unique selling proposition. Now, this is what makes you unique. What makes you different in your area? Why should they pick you over your competitors? What is the extra edge that you give? What is the little extra thing that you have that you're going to use to get people to buy your product over someone else's? The next section that you want to go to in your ultimate business startup checklist is setting up your business. Now, this is the part that you want to get right because there's a very structured way that you're going to do this. There's no creativity involved here. You're just going to follow the steps and get everything set up correctly and legally. Once again, we're not lawyers. We're not giving any legal advice. I'm just giving the steps that I know that we need to do, especially here in Nevada, to set up a business and to get everything done above board. So the first thing you probably want to do is get yourself a mailbox. This is not crucial if you don't mind using your home address as your business, or if you are starting a business in an actual office, then you don't need a mailbox. But if you're starting a business from home and you want your privacy and you want your business mail to go to a specific address, go and get yourself a business mailbox. And I mean at like a UPS store or a FedEx Kinko's or one of the mom and pop places that do mailboxes to where you get an actual address. Don't go to the post office and get a P.O. box. You'll run into problems with that. There's nothing wrong with P.O. boxes. It just doesn't work very well as an address for setting up your business. So get that mailbox, and then that'll give you that special address that you can use on all of your materials. The next thing that you absolutely want to do is get a phone number that is designated for your business. Now, once again, just like the mailbox, this isn't something that you absolutely have to do. You can use your personal phone, but realize that you're using your personal phone. Your business phone, as you give out that number, you might pick up more often than what you will your personal phone when there's calls that that might be blocked or that you normally wouldn't pick up because you're going to get strange calls on your business phone. I mean, you're not going to have them in your contacts. So separating that out is going to make your life a lot easier. You don't need to go out and buy a separate phone or a separate phone plan. You can use things like Google Phone. You can use Skype. You can use anything that will give you a legitimate telephone number to use, and then you can port it over to where you can tell that it's coming from that business phone whenever you get the phone call. That's going to let you answer the phone also in a different way. Instead of picking it up and just saying hello, you can answer with, "Hello, this is my secret CEO. How can I help you?" It goes a long way in the professionalism, and that you sound more like a legitimate business. The next step is choosing your business name. Now, this one could have arguably come a little earlier on the list, but not necessarily. After you've got your niche, after you picked everything, after you've got everything set up, now's the time to pick the perfect business name. And before you just start running with it, there's a little bit of work you have to do. You have to make sure that you can actually use that name. Make sure somebody else is not already using it. That it's not already registered online and that you can actually get the .com. There's several things that you're going to want to look at that will get much deeper into later in other videos, but you're going to want to do basic checking with your with the county registrar's office. All the records are public and online. You just need to Google your county and public records. You can do a simple check by going to GoDaddy or Namecheap or domains.com and typing in the domain and seeing if it's available to buy or not. And you definitely want to be able to get the .com. You don't want to get stuck with a .net or something where somebody actually can get confused and think that they're coming to see you and literally buying it from your competitor. After you've got your business name set up, the next thing you're going to want to do is choose the business structure. Now, this has a lot to do with legal things that you very much might want to get a CPA or an attorney and talk to them about what's the best strategy for you. It comes down to whether you're a sole proprietor and you're doing it on your own. You can run as a sole proprietor. You can also do an LLC as what's called a disregarded entity, which basically you're a sole proprietor, but you have the protection of being a corporation. But you're taxed as a sole proprietor. So once again, your CPA or a tax attorney will be able to tell you what's best for you. I will say if you're going to do a partnership, that whether you do an LLC or an S-Corp or just a regular old partnership, make sure that you have an agreement that is set up between you and your partner. No matter which designation you do or how you set up your structure on the tax level, you want to make sure that you have an agreement to where the percentage owned of the company and who owns what and who does what is all laid out in a contract, and that'll save you a ton of headaches down the road. And the last thing on setting up your business is making sure that you get all the licenses, permits, and anything you might need for your business. These things change all the time. Now, I'm in the United States. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, and there's certain rules in Las Vegas. There's certain rules for Nevada. There's certain rules for the United States. Canada has changed the laws on drones. You cannot fly a drone in Canada without a very detailed license. You literally have to take like a pilot's test to fly a drone now in Canada. So if you go out and you try to start a photography business or a videography business and you're flying drones, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Those are huge fines and you get a lot of trouble if you're in Canada. That's just an example of why you need to make sure you get your business license. You get your county business license or your city business license, the state business license if there is one, any certifications you need to be doing the thing that you're doing. I think you guys get the point. You just want to make sure that you got all your bases covered. Double check, do a Google search, make sure that you're doing things above board. Save yourself a ton of headaches down the road by just making sure everything is set up properly right from the beginning. Make sure you join me in the next video where we're going to talk all about your online setup and how to get that correctly, the next step on your ultimate business checklist. So your journey doesn't stop here. Be sure to continue on by clicking the video right over here.